We're live, a couple minutes late, which is fine because
it doesn't matter.
Nobody enforces that rule on us. Welcome to another episode of Camera Shop Talk live. And our special guest today,
you're looking at him.
Nobody.
We're
not special, so
it's okay. You're special, Mitch. You're special to me.
Our sponsor today.
Our sponsor. Wait, hold on. Our sponsor today should be McDonald's, and there's one reason, Mitch. I want to tell you a story before we start talking about cameras. Everyone tuning in, we're not talking about cameras yet, but we're going to talk about the atrocity that happened to me when I was in line for Chick-fil-A yesterday. I get to Chick-fil-A. I wait in the long line. I get to the front, and on the speaker next to the person lists all the sauces that they're out of. And you know what sauce they were out of? Every sauce. Why even? They should have someone at the beginning of the line telling you they're out of all the good sauces, so I can just leave.
It's my fault.
It's your fault?
It's my fault.
You
went to Chick-fil-A and there was a sauce outage?
There is a legit sauce shortage, everyone.
We talked about this weeks ago, and you said, why didn't you get your 2-ounce thing of sauce? And I was like, because I don't want to cause a sauce shortage. And here it is.
And here it is. So we waited in line. We got our Chick-fil-A, super disappointed. All they had was honey roasted barbecue sauce in those little packets. And it's not very good. And so there was a McDonald's next door. And I got in line for McDonald's. We ordered a McDouble. Sorry, mixing my fast food chains. We ordered a McDouble just to get to the window and ask for some ketchup and some barbecue sauce and some honey mustard. So McDonald's came in clutch because they actually had sauces, whereas Chick-fil-A, out of Chick-fil-A sauce, I'm boycotting them.
Fake news.
Fake news. No, I should have taken a photo. I just didn't want to take
Chick-fil-A would have never made this mistake.
Chick-fil-A.
I think you were at a Cane's. I'm sorry. I think you were mistaken. You looked up and you saw Chick-fil-A because you were so hungry that you were hallucinating. And it was a Cane's, actually. It was
when in doubt, just go to McDonald's because McDonald's is going to have the sauce you need.
Here's the difference is this is like a plane crash, right?
Yeah.
You hear about this only occasionally at Chick-fil-A. Right. But my only experience at McDonald's is them screwing up the order.
Right. So. Well, I ordered like the least screw upable thing on earth, a McDouble with cheese. And then asked for ketchup and barbecue sauce. It was a win-win for me and my girlfriend.
Well, I'm about to go to Chick-fil-A after this, so I'll have a review.
Well, ask for some extra sauce, buddy, because you never know when it's not going to be there.
Okay, I'll take it all. Anyways, we're just going to snowball off of what we decided to talk about first, which was we just both went on Instagram and found
some photos that a
singular photo that we like. Hopefully soon we'll do not really a competition, but we'll
need to hold me to it. You need to like text me the second we get done. I say, hey, I'll see you tomorrow, and then like 2 hours later, text me like, Kyle, make the post so people. Well, I'm a scatterbrain. Plus, I'm living in 2 places right now, and I'm only living here, but I'm moving all my stuff into a new place, so it's a mess. The only good thing about moving in the middle of a pandemic is that there's no traffic.
Right. That is an upside.
Upside of moving in a pandemic. Right. Except there's no the first thing you buy when you move is like Clorox bleach wipes so you can like wipe down surfaces and stuff. There are none of those.
Well, when this first broke out and there was the toilet paper fiasco was right when I was moving, and I was like, right, I can't clean my old place or my new place in this
right. It's a tough situation, but we both picked photos that we enjoy. We're going to showcase them on here. Now the photographers who took these have no idea. We just cruised our own Instagrams and decided to choose a photo. And then after this, I want to talk about that Canon is supposedly dropping 2 more cameras in 2021, and what will those cameras be? And so I love speculating with you.
Bring them on, Canon.
I love talking about what ifs.
Drop the load, Canon.
Drop the mother load, Canon. All right, let's share these photos first, and then your photo was funny because I was looking at the exact photo when you sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh, this could be my photo." But this is from the U.S. Navy Blue Angels, Lieutenant Commander Aaron Hicks, who doesn't have an Instagram. But we're going to, maybe he does, and he probably is just not allowed to put his photos up on Instagram because they belong to the government. But this is a picture of the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels flying side by side, which is pretty sweet. I wish it was. I can't drag it, Mitch. I can't.
I know I couldn't find it just in one frame, but you know how one trick you can do on Instagram.
I think the Thunderbirds shared it. No, they didn't share that photo. Let's go back here. Let me see if the Blue Angels shared it.
They had a similar version, but that one's just really cool because of the way they line up, all in the diamond together.
Right. I mean, how many times?
Rare, very rare. That almost never happens. You hardly ever get to see both teams together.
Who do you think flies in a cooler formation? My coworker at the Rockies, Nick, says that Thunderbirds are nothing compared to the Blue Angels when it comes to flying in formation.
You know what? I think it depends on the day.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've seen both quite a number of times. I'll say I'm a little bit biased towards the Blue Angels.
Sure.
But I think both of them are. They're constantly rotating teams too. It's not the same guys.
I've got
girls all the time. They're always rotating. So
taking turns and stuff.
That and it's just they don't do it for very long.
Yeah.
It's a pretty rigorous.
I found him.
So
I found Navy Blue Angel Duck. He has an Instagram. Let's see, but he didn't post the photos of the flyover. He's probably too busy, flying. There we go. Let's look.
Oh, there it is.
There's a photo.
Better version.
This
we were talking. The cool thing is that in order to get shots like these, you have to have your own F-18 or F-16. I don't know which jet he was in, but they have been having when they're doing this whole series where they're flying over all the cities that are affected by the national outbreak at the moment. But they got to have their own jet to chase these jets. So that's pretty cool. And I just think that was just really awesome of them to go do that. That's a big confidence boost for so many people. I was thinking if you were a patient in the middle of this, maybe you're lucky enough to have a window or some access to see outside, that would be
a little uplifting.
That would knock it right out of you, wouldn't it?
Dude, I still am I blacked out when they flew over Coors Field when I was taking pictures. I just kind of forgot what was going on, or I was in the moment,
Yeah.
And I kind of, I don't know. I remember that I was cursing very loud, but I wasn't like cursing. I was just like pumped because I wanted them to fly over the exact way they flew over. And so when it happens and it lines up, you're super pumped, and you're like, "F yes!" And I was like, also I was pumped because fighter jets were flying over,
right?
And it just really is exciting when they fly over. It's just exactly how I felt when one buzzed our neighborhood 3 weeks ago, an F-16, just I don't know what it was, but an F-16 just put on its afterburners maybe 1,000 feet above my neighborhood. It was
it's an intense moment. Mike is biased towards Blue Angels because he worked on the F-18. That's awesome.
There we go.
That is very cool. I'm jealous of that.
I grew up.
I'm a little biased towards the Blue Angels because I don't know when it was. It had to be in the 90s or something, but years ago they had some sort of promo video for their team or a commercial of just
trying to get you to sign up,
a montage or something. Well, that, and it was I don't know. It just, when I was a kid, it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And right. It was Dreams by Van Halen. Right. Okay. It was the song. And anytime I hear that song, that's all I think about is the Blue Angels. And it's instant.
My grandpa gave me this book of every fighter jet ever made, starting back in World War II.
Yeah.
World War I. Yeah. There weren't any fighter jets in World War I, were there? Yeah. No. There were no airplanes in World War I.
There were planes. There were no jets.
Jets. Yeah. And so that's when I started liking fighter jets. And then being from Las Vegas, the Thunderbirds are based out of Nellis Air Force Base, right? So when we'd always see them flying around, or you go to the air shows and you would see them go like, you could like walk around. My dad sat in one, I think, or flew in one, to be honest.
Gosh, yeah. I want to do that.
Yeah. So I used to have a picture of the Thunderbirds and said, you know, customized like to Kyle, you know, behave, listen to your parents, Thunderbirds. It's like, and it was like a picture of them flying over Bryce Canyon or something like that.
They are like the coolest people in the world.
Right.
They're like the real life superheroes. That's kind of what they do. They flew over, like, it's almost like they had a cape when they went over.
Yeah. It definitely like felt good seeing them just fly over, and then watching everyone just like wait outside. I was like looking around on the top of the rock pile at Coors Field, and I could see like on Park Ave and all these other streets and apartments, everyone was just hanging out outside waiting for them to fly over. Granted, they were waiting a lot longer because they had to refuel, and it took a long time for them.
Yeah.
But
they should have done a second flyby real low with the tanker.
Yeah, just the real MVP of the flyover is the dude who fills these things back up. But yeah, that's a sweet photo. You don't see that photo very often. So, should I show my photo? Hold on, I'm gonna stop screen and then share screen again. This photo is by a photographer named Michael Blinsky, who is he's out of Arizona, but he comes to Colorado a lot, and I've been following him, and he does a lot of storm chasing photos. And so this photo is of a supercell last year in Denver City, Texas. And so it's just crazy. I don't know if it's big. I wish I could make it bigger. Let me zoom in and see if I can. Can you see it now? Is it looking nicer?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. This thing is just crazy.
Is that a long exposure? It's got to be kind of long.
It's got to be a little long, but I think that's kind of just the way what was going. It has like movement to it, you know?
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's really, really cool. It almost looks like a rock, like an eroded rock or something.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was thinking of storm chasing because this weekend there is a chance of like severe storms out on the plains. And so it just made me think, you know, I'm not going to go drive my car that I don't want hail damage on out there to take photos. Plus I have no idea what I'm doing. So I don't feel like, you know, having this just drop on me. But I love looking at it. So if I ever got invited by someone who actually knew what they were doing, I would go and take photos. But this is my photo of the day, and it's from May 5th, 2019. So it's not any time. It's not a current photo, but it's a cool.
Yeah. There was no criteria for.
Yeah, we should ask Mike. Maybe I'll message Mike. He has no idea who I am, but maybe like, hey, Mike, I want to talk about, you know, storm photography.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. That is a really cool photo.
He'd probably be down.
I'm not usually a black and white fan either, and I feel like that
would look kind of cool in black and white.
Black and white, yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Jennifer. She left us a nice comment below.
Yes,
we appreciate you watching. We have a fun time doing these. So, and then Roxy says, "Do you have a good Boston accent?" Wow, wicked. Oh, like a.
I don't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah,
I could do a British accent.
It's kind of it's like mixed between like British slang and a New York accent is what I would consider like a wicked. I don't know how to do it. I'm not going to do it. Wicked smart. So yeah, that's my photo. And so let's talk Canon, man. Let's talk about this potential for 2 more mirrorless cameras from Canon. Is it going to be? I mean, so the R5 is coming. It's 2020. Is there an R6 coming as well in 2020? And or are we talking about the R6 maybe happening in 2021? Are they gonna put out like an A6000 killer? You know, something to compete with the A6000 line?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen, and I have a reason for that, and that's because they're still releasing M mount stuff.
Yeah, it's just I hate those M mounts, man.
And I don't think they're going to make an APS-C body with an R mount alongside their M mount. Maybe they would, and call it a professional R mount APS-C or something, but that would seem really weird to me to have two APS-C cameras, both mirrorless,
with
two different mounts and then you can't even share lenses on.
If anyone's gonna mess around with mounts, though, it's gonna be Canon,
I guess. But that's kind of the weird thing, is their whole strength for the longest time was having that massive lens selection, and now it's like they got 3 different mounts to choose from. But that's, I think the M cameras are actually pretty good. Like the M6 Mark II is a pretty decent camera. It just is hindered by that limited mount. You don't have all those pro lenses available to put on. You could put the adapter on just like you can with the R mount for the old EF lenses, but that's as far as you can take it at the moment. And it's just like, are they gonna put that much effort into that mount? It just doesn't seem like. They don't talk about it ever. They kind of just randomly drop stuff. There's not really a clear direction to that lineup either. It's like kind of all over the place. So I don't really think they're going to do an A6000 killer, but if they were doing 3 different bodies for Canon, that sounds a lot like they're copying the Sony playbook there.
So they have a high megapixel, the sensitive sensor for light, and then you've got your regular base consumer model full frame.
Yeah. Which I would like. I think it's about time. Canon deserves some hype, man. It's been for what, like 10 years? It's just been like, well, Sony, we gotta go to the Sony. We gotta get some Sony stuff in here, which I love. I'm all about that. I talk about it all the time. It's like my favorite thing to geek out about in the store when customers come in. Somebody picks up an orange box, and I'm like, "Are we talking?
How much time do you have? Because I'm about to take up all of
it. But I love to talk about the differences of other brands and stuff too. So what Canon's done with I think the biggest hope is, if you've seen any of the videos with the 1DX Mark III and their the live view focus system on the 1DX Mark III, and I think they officially said the R5 is basically just using that system, and videos online showing how well it works. Maybe it's a little bit slower than an A9, but that's a little slower than an A9 is like a mile per hour below Mach 1. So it's still going to be really fast.
Exactly. And then I don't have to trade in all my EF glass. I could just throw on a native like adapter.
Yeah. And hopefully it'd be even quicker.
No such thing as a native adapter, but yeah, it would be faster autofocus than my Canon glass on my Sony.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fast to begin with.
Yeah, I guess that'd be my prediction. Where did you hear that there was 3? I knew there was an R6.
It was I was on Petapixel. It says 2 more EOS R cameras in 2021.
Oh, 2.
Which is why I'm like, is the EOS R6 going to get pushed back to 2021? And they're just going to roll with the R5 for now, or what? But
what would you do if you were Canon? Would you drop the more affordable one or the heavy hitter, like the spec pusher?
I feel like the EOS R was the affordable one. I mean, the affordable one to get you in, but I think you want the spec pusher to get everyone's attention, and then you want to drop another kind of consumer model.
I agree.
Get people who are doubters to be like, okay, so here it comes, like, because it's kind of like Sony dropped the A7 R2, and it was like loads better than the A7 II. And then they put the A7 III out, and everyone was like, boom, we're going. Because like the A7 R2 kind of made people believe.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I wish I could get into this brand. They've got me sold on all this stuff. I could go into that brand, but it's $3,500 body. And then they're like, oh,
here's a $2,000
$2,000 one. It's got almost everything that one has. And it's like, okay, fine.
So I think they go with the big R5, and then they go, if you didn't want to spend, $3,500 on the R5, same autofocus systems in the new R2 or R.
I thought the R6 was the 1DX sensor. From what I heard, I thought it was like a 20 megapixel sensor or something like that, with the same speed as the R5, just lower resolution. That's what I was. That's what
I would be okay with that. Yeah. Just give me the biggest sensor you have. Just let me shoot medium raw is all I want.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care.
Well, it does kind of, I was starting to get tired of it with the Sony.
Roxy wants to know if we're talking about digital or film cameras.
Do they make film cameras?
I don't. I think they just stopped making the F6.
They don't make film cameras anymore, but you can buy large format 3D printed cameras.
Okay, yeah.
But that's because it's like a box with a sliding door.
Right.
But
they make new large format film cameras.
Yeah.
Like there was if you go back and you go look at our interview with Alex Burke of Greeley, he shoots on 4x5, and I think Intrepid and a couple other companies, they're still making like cool handmade wooden 4x5 cameras. So that's probably the only 4x film cameras being made right now.
Really awesome way to shoot. Just takes a ton of patience.
Yeah,
and probably not the best like first film camera if you're gonna get into a film camera. You can find a lot of
just throw yourself into the fire and shoot 4x5 first.
Yeah, but you can find a ton of really good condition film cameras that probably lived in a closet their entire life.
Right. That's how we get most of our film cameras. They just kind of being cleaned out of a closet or an attic, and they're in really good condition.
Because film was still the thing well into like the early 2000s,
right?
And so they're still around, but it would be cool if there was a new film camera.
We buy so many K1000s. James from the camera shop, one of our employees, he always says whenever we buy almost every K1000 that comes into the store as long as it's in good working order, and James says just keep buying them because at some point someone's going to make a digital back for like K1000, and then we'll have all these digital cameras, But
that would be sweet.
If you have, they should make a Rebel R, and move that line to mirrorless. That would be interesting. That's what Keith's saying.
Yeah, that'd be a hit because that name is so.
Oh yeah, the Rebel. I'm surprised. Yeah, how do they just leave the Rebel brand behind? When people come into the camera store and they ask for a Rebel instead of a Canon.
It's especially around the holidays if you're buying for someone else and you're like, well, I gotta buy this person a nice camera. The first word that comes to mind is like, oh, I'll get a Rebel. I've seen people with a Rebel.
Yeah. Derek, this is a long one. Let's put it on the screen though. Boom. It covers half the screen. Thanks for the question, Derek. So for someone who wants to do photography and video, mainly video, what would you recommend? A Sony a7 III or a Canon EOS R, and which is better lens selection? Thanks for watching, Derek. We're happy to just be on here doing this. So, I mean, you what would you think? Better lens selection?
Well, yeah, you mentioned lens selection, and I guess
are you
the new Canon is it's flashy, it's a big deal at the moment, and it's the same feeling like when the a7 III came out, like, oh, it's the spec monster and it's gonna kill everything, and it probably will. It's probably gonna be that kind of camera, but the lens selection is that much more important. If you buy a Canon EOS R and you want to use native lenses, there's like one or two affordable lens options at the moment that are native. And if you're doing video and you want to get the most out of video, the video autofocus on Canon is great. It's phenomenal, and it works really well with the native lenses. It's silent and it tracks really easy, and it's super simple to use in the menu system. However, the cost of entry is like really high because the body is more affordable now than it was. I think they're like $1,800 now.
Right.
But the lenses are way up there. If you want any of the pro lenses from them, they're going to be, above $2,000 most of them.
Kind of depends if you're trying to do autofocus or if you're kind of just doing manual focus.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I feel like Canon is where Sony was, like, obviously 4 or 5 years ago, where it's like if you wanted to go Canon mirrorless, or if you wanted to go Sony mirrorless, you were shelling out a chunk of change, and now it's the opposite.
The weird thing is, it's tough to not be like all gung-ho on the Canon at the moment because it's new, and we've been sitting on the a7 III and the R4 for a little while, and it's like, okay,
these are great.
Now we're bored after a year.
Yeah.
That's how we've been trained by these camera companies who release a camera all the time. But the reality is Canon has only just now finally caught up to Sony, which is exciting because now you have a whole, user base, the largest user base, which is probably Canon for professional photographers and stuff. They're all going to flock to that camera. But the Sony is still ultimately the benchmark for video, and your advantage there is you've got a ton of lenses available, contrary to what was the case like 10 years ago when they caught a ton of flack when they first came out with the new E-mount because there was no lenses, and now 10 years later they have a whole host of lenses. And Tamron actually makes probably the greatest case to buy a Sony, I think, is the Tamron lens lineup because they're so affordable and so good, and lightweight and everything. So I guess in my opinion, you go with I would recommend the Sony. But
if you want to see some cool video quality stuff from a Canon, go to our YouTube, because Alan, who used to work with us at the camera shop, he filmed all of our YouTube stuff on an EOS R. So, or most of the stuff with an EOS R. Yeah,
what we went back and forth between Sony and Canon, but like 90% of the videos are Canon. It'll say in the description, I think he put in
what it's shot on,
what we shot with it. But yeah, I mean, really, both of them. I know this is like the most cliched thing to say. You can't go wrong with either one.
Yeah, wow.
But my recommendation is Sony. So, because you're gonna get a full frame mirrorless camera and you're gonna shoot video with it, and you're gonna look at it and go, "Wow, this looks great.
This is cool." Yeah, Derek, if you weren't tuning in, maybe like 10 minutes ago when Mitch said when someone picks up a Sony box, he goes over there and basically asks, "How much time do you have to talk about Sony?" Now you just got him going.
I know. Flashbacks. I had like Vietnam flashbacks right there.
At least you can at least you can sit down and talk about this one here, You're welcome, Derek. Ted says, what Canon EF to Sony E adapter would you recommend to give fast autofocus? Ted, I'm using the Sigma MC11, and it's worked with every lens that I own, and it's like half the cost of a Metabones, and I've been super happy with it. And that's what we kind of sell people when they come in to the camera shop. I've shot sports with it. It's not like the ideal situation in general, because you're adapting, lenses. So there's so many points of communication, but I like the MC11. I have had really good luck with it. I have really good luck with it when I adapt my Sigma art lenses, obviously. And then, but the Medbones I've never used before, but I do know that I think the Sigma comes with a US warranty and the Metabones does not. And so you're out an adapter for a long time if you have to send that Metabones in, because I don't think they have dealers in the United States, but I could be wrong. What do you think, Mitch?
Totally agree.
Yeah. And the MC11 is like $200. Sometimes around the holidays you can get it for like $150 if you buy a Sigma art lens. Sometimes there's a deal where you get a free adapter with it, so
for the price difference between the two, if there is any performance difference, it's not even noticeable. I think I've tried both and not in any like real rigorous environment, but they felt the same. So I think for the price difference, I would get the MC11 as well. Or do something cool and go get yourself a Leica M mount lens and get the Tech Art adapter.
Boom. And then the second one that has autofocus for M mount glass.
Yeah.
Dude, David, who used to work at the camera shop, he bought like a really early version of something like that, and he put it on his A7R2, I think.
Yeah.
And he was showing me how it worked, and I was just like mind blown that he was getting an autofocus on this M mount Leica.
I thought it was straight up fake when I saw it online. I was like, this is like an April Fool's thing, like autofocus with Leica lenses on Sony, and I was like, no.
Do you remember when they had the Nikon autofocus adapter for a hot second there? And
yes,
I think it broke.
It cooked one of the lenses, and
it would cook this lens. And there's all these reports that this adapter was just frying Nikon lenses, and frying the body. And so our Sony Sony rep at the time came in and he had it, and he goes, "Yeah, just be careful what Nikon you put it on." And so I, of course, go instantly and find the one Nikon lens in the case that it was going to fry, and I fried the lens and the body. I was so I just was full of regret. And then I said, I will never ever tell anyone to try to find an autofocus lens adapter for Sony for Nikon.
Yeah, when I saw those online or that happening, it was too risky, right? Like,
right,
for what poor performance you're gonna get anyway. Like, are you gonna?
My first Sony was an A7S. It was my first full frame body. It was like my maybe like third or fourth month working at the camera shop. And my roommate at the time bought me a photodiox adapter that could let me control the aperture and stuff like that. And I had a 50 millimeter Nikon lens because I was still fairly new to photography. It's like 5 years ago. And I was taking it into the pit and manually focusing with my peaking focus. It was like the hardest thing I'd ever done. And then I reminded myself that people did this with film all the time. And there's like really great concert photos.
Did you ever follow the rule when you were doing manual, or still follow the rule with manual focus, where you leave it on in infinity and only bring it in every time you take a picture? Only reset the focus to infinity and then focus in.
Okay. No.
I was watching some video and I forget it now, but it was about street photography with.
Oh yeah, it's like a theory.
Film. And he's like, no picture looks good with somebody walking away from you. So you always want your focus to be coming in. So
yeah,
you just reset it to infinity all the time.
Oh, where's AD? AD knows all about this. We should have asked Preston about it too.
Yeah.
But it's if anyone listening knows what we're talking about and knows the actual like name of the theory, it's really interesting. And it's a really hard name to remember, I think. But I'll ask AD, and then maybe tomorrow I'll have the answer. So, but yeah, it's a way of how street photographers work. So
radical, man.
Radical. So like back to this Chick-fil-A thing. Are you going to go to Chick-fil-A? And
yeah, should I live stream it?
You should. I mean, can you record the fact that they have Chick-fil-A sauce? Because
which right Chick-fil-A did you go to?
I went to the one near Sloan's Lake, which is probably really busy.
Man,
in Denver.
I'm in the Highlands Ranch. It's like,
dude,
I mean, there's probably like our mascot.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of.
If they're out of Chick-fil-A sauce, their ranch is actually so good.
They had no ranch, man. It literally had a list this long of sauces.
Well, then I'll just come home and have some of my reserve ranch.
You have reserve ranch?
Yes, yeah. Duh.
We were out and about. I literally ate in a car, and I wish I had Chick-fil-A sauce.
But I'm sorry you had a terrible Chick-fil-A experience.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this, Mitch.
Yes, Mom.
Oh, your mom is like, she knows her son.
Everyone give my mom some love. Her basement flooded.
What?
Yeah. The sump pump broke or something. So,
oh man. Sorry, Pam. Sorry, Mitch's mom.
I wish dryness upon you. We'll send some of our dry air.
Yeah. So Adobe is I don't know if this is new news. I just wake up every day and I go on Petapixel is what I do, right? Supposedly Adobe has set up a thing, and it's called the Adobe Creative Residency Community Fund. And I think they have
creative residency.
Yeah. So you go, and I can put the link in the bio, but you go and you apply and you tell them, it's a grant. And so they're doing grants between $500 and $5,000 determined by their selection committee. And you have to apply with your own creative project. And you have to tell them kind of what you'd be using the money for. And then, and then they just give you the grant. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody can do that.
They want it to be anyone using Adobe Creative Suites, obviously. So photographers it's not just limited to photographers, it's limited to people who make audio, it's limited to people who do video or do, design, Illustrator, all that stuff. So
yeah, I like when they do stuff. I think they did something similar a few years ago, but That's really cool.
Yeah.
What would you use the money on?
I don't know. I'd have to find some. Right now, all I can think about is the new apartment I'm moving into, and I actually got my my government check today. I got it direct deposited, so I got the they still owe me $400 if we're gonna break even on the taxes I owed them.
Did you get the check, or did your landlord get the check?
I know it's going straight to pay rent tomorrow, which is fine. But at least I have some money to pay rent tomorrow. So
that's true. Yeah.
Or maybe I could buy a Yeti mic. Maybe that's what I'll use it for.
That'd be cool.
Buy a Yeti mic so I can have the good sound quality that we still are gonna need when I move. Yeah, this might be the last day you see me in this area. I was telling AD if he comes back on and talks wedding photography with us again, he's gonna be sitting here and everyone's gonna think he's the boss of the broadcast because he's got the brick behind him. So. And the annoying can light. Can lights are the worst. I mean, come on, guys. Every photo shoot I've ever has had like can lights. Not every photo shoot, but like baseball. When we do our photo day for the Rockies, we do it in this big old hallway, and there's all the different publications: AP, Getty, USA Today. Everyone comes and shows up, and we do it in this hallway with can lights just lined down the street and down the way. And so we actually use T-shirts to like flag all the can lights to make it really dark where we are.
Oh, I was going to say, just turn them off.
Well, they're like,
they're the whole hallway, though, right?
15 feet, 20 feet in the air. So I have to go find this ladder, and then I'm not in charge of the building, but and they're really hot, right?
Yeah, like harsh light.
Yeah, and they're always on. So I was thinking maybe next year I'll bring like one of those oven gloves and just like twist them all off. So
that'd be cool.
Oh, thank you, Glenn. He says it gives us. Glenn, you were watching yesterday, and I didn't get your comment where you said you're number 2 because we said Mitch's mom is the number 1 fan, and so I was like, looked at your comment, and I was like, I don't really understand. And then, like literally at the end of the broadcast, I finally got it. So you are a number 2 fan, Glenn. And if my dad or mom is watching, they're obviously up there with Mitch's mom. They're tied because parents win. Yeah,
we can't say anything bad about our parents.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my rant about can lights. Even though it does give me a nice little halo, when I'm blocking it, it's like beautiful because it's got like it lights the hat well, stuff like that. So there's another one above me. Man, Mitch, what a productive day! This was crazy. I didn't think we'd have
my lighting setup is a little extreme.
I get the W. What did you actually turn the light on this time?
I have a massive softbox.
It's like you don't have do you have a window too?
I have a window, but every time I go over there, it's getting so hot now that the sun will hit the computer and it'll just cook my computer. So I gotta come in here. Heat and I'm gonna set this whole room up to do more substantial, like live stream, a more legit live streaming studio. Where I'll have actual camera hooked up to the computer instead of this whole.
You're gonna be a webcam man?
No, I despise webcams. I hate this camera.
You're not gonna be a cam guy?
A cam guy? Well,
it's the family. It's a family show.
We can't go any farther.
This is a family show. Thanks, Roxy. Thanks for watching. We do this every day. So if you enjoy the content, come back for more. Can't promise it's this entertaining every night.
What's going on tomorrow? What are we doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow we don't have a guest, so
tomorrow I may talk about some often looked over editing tools
in Lightroom, because you're going to do
just in general. I think there's a lot of powerful tools or powerful apps
like the clarity slider.
No, I just mean like if you get on your phone, you can get some really powerful, like free or even in some cases maybe they're like $2 apps. But you don't always need to fire up the full version of Photoshop, for everything, because that I think can slow you down a lot if you're constantly thinking every picture. Is it like this with you? Every picture you take, you have to run it through Lightroom before you can even consider if it's good or not?
Kind of. I don't think I've posted a straight out of camera photo in a long time. Except for like when I transmit photos to the press box for the Rockies. Yeah. Those are straight out of camera.
First time I've done that in like probably 4 years was with that X100. With and which is still, I don't really count that straight out of camera because there's still like a filter applied.
Yeah.
But, you know, I didn't have to go into it. Was really liberating to not have to go into Lightroom.
Yeah. Well, I have Lightroom mobile, right? And so.
Which that's what I'm going to talk about
tomorrow. And so, okay, I won't.
We need content for
tomorrow. We need content. I don't want to waste all the good content, but yeah, that's why everything I use goes through Lightroom or Lightroom Mobile usually. So I used to use Snapseed a lot, but that was just for my phone photos before you could actually get a pretty decent JPEG off your camera.
Yeah.
So, but now the JPEGs from Sony are crazy.
True. All right. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff that's maybe either poo-pooed on or has gotten a lot better in the last couple of years.
Is it poo-poo?
Correct.
This is not good.
Also correct.
Correct. Yeah. So,
all right.
This has been Camera Shop Talk for today. And it's tomorrow, May 1st. Or is there 31 days? Are there 31 days in April? I don't think there's 31 days.
April was one day.
April was one day. Tomorrow is the 1st of May. And you know what that means? We're
on May 4th.
That's what I was going to say. May the 4th be with you. It's almost that day. Are you going to dress up? Do you have any like Star Wars gear?
I could put my. Here we go.
Okay.
Maybe I should save this.
Save it.
I have a May 4th.
Oh, it is May in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Lynn, what's tomorrow like? Let's get out of here, Mitch, before it gets any crazier.
We're gonna go.
We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, for the special Friday edition. We're gonna find a new sponsor too because
we'll come up with a special sponsor.
We'll come with a special sponsor. Yesterday was Hidden Valley Ranch. Today was McDonald's. All right. See you guys later.